What is up, guys? My name is Tippy Canoe, and I'm a little bit excited to bring you this commentary because I am sitting next to the gameplay getter himself, Trusty Lawnmower. He's been entertaining your eyes while I've been entertaining your ears during these Call of Duty gameplays, and he decided he is going to join us for this video whilst we tell a story when we were together down in Myrtle Beach. So the question of the day for you guys to leave in the comment section below is, what is the most humiliating or embarrassing thing that's happened to you, either lately or just in your life in general? What has happened to you that you'd rather not talk about, but you're going to talk about it anyway because I asked you to? So with that said, the gameplay here is not brought to you by Trusty Lawnmower. This is from Luca de Toast or Emerald Click, whatever you prefer to call him. But let's get right into the story. So the setup to this video is essentially me and Jeremy went down to Myrtle Beach with his family. Went down for about a week or so for a vacation. You know, definitely a well-needed vacation. I haven't been on a vacation since probably Niagara Falls at that point in time. But we went down to relax, like I said, and our resort was just amazing, amazing. Now, you guys have been to that resort before, right?
Yes.
A couple times, so you knew what you were doing. However, I had no idea where we were at. I'd been to Myrtle Beach before, but more on the northern part of the beachhead, or whatever you'd like to call it. So the idea was for us literally just to relax, to chill, and our resort had a nice view on the balcony. What was the card game we got into? What was it? Trying to think of the name of it. Euchre, something along those lines. The point being, we would sit out on the balcony and literally just play card games like blackjack, and and we had a nice view, like I said, of a golf course, and it overlooked the main resort pool, and also looked over like the lazy river and the kids' hot tub and things like that. And a little side note on a funny story. Jeremy's grandfather is a bit of a joker. He'll always like to play tricks and so on and so forth, but he's a little bit blind, but he refused to let that interfere with the joke that he wanted to play, which was he came out while we were playing card game, whatever it be, and he said, "Hey, you guys checking out those hot chicks down there in the hot tub?" To which we looked to our right, and there was a fat old Italian guy, completely hairy from his head to his toes, and we just kind of looked back at Jeremy's grandfather and said, "Yeah, definitely some hot chicks in that hot tub." And of course, he had no idea what we were talking about, which kind of added to the joke. So, jump cut a little bit later, we were kind of in the hot tub with an older kid having an interesting conversation about, knife carrying and using knives as utilities and working and so on and so forth like that. And we had come to grips with the fact that he carried knives. That's what he liked to do. So we kind of had that in mind, and he took his leave from the hot tub maybe about 20 or so minutes later, and he walked over to the group. Was it a family group or so? I think there was maybe like 6 or so people there.
Yeah.
But with that family group, there was 2, I'd say fairly attractive teenagers over there. Of course, female, being that as though it was what we look at. And so with the teenagers over there, we were kind of scoping them out a little bit, seeing what was all there. But however, that's all we could do. We could only scope. We were there to look at some gems. However, we were not there to touch any, seeing as though we were a little bit taken with some things back up here in a little bit north of the south. So, with that said, we decided to name them with what we always do, which is name girls based upon what they're wearing and not necessarily what their actual names are, or if they even told us their names, we'd pretty much just continue to call them whatever we so choose to, because that's just kind of what we do. So we named the one Blue. She had a blue top, and the other one Neon. She had a neon top. And so we had Blue and Neon, and Blue and Neon were there for probably the same amount of time we were, which is all week, and it was probably their second or third day there. So later at night, we went down to the lazy river to hang out, chill, talk, go in some circles, and the lazy river had, jets in it and whatnot, and it has a pretty steady current. And with that said, we knew that we hadn't really done any exercise, and when we were north of the south, as I'm going to continue to say just because I like it, we were running almost every other day or so, and we decided, well, since we're down here for a week, we might as well do something. So we decided it was an interesting or good idea to run backwards and do like 10 laps backwards against the current of the lazy river. And the lazy river had a bit of I'd say a divider in between the 2 sides, so kind of like a racetrack, but in the middle was a forest where you couldn't see between the 2 sides. So with that said, we're running, and of course, like everything me and Jeremy do, it slowly turned into a competition. And as we were running our laps, it was probably like the 4th lap, and of course our legs were just killing us. We didn't realize what we were signing up to until we were like already midway through it. And we were on lap 4, and Jeremy, you want to explain what you did?
Well, I mean, I just turned around and whipped the closest thing next to me at you, which happened to be an inner tube.
So he throws the inner tube at me, and it kind of just ricochets off my shoulder. And of course, I had stopped at that point, and which was a mistake because I forgot for a second that we were actually racing and it was a competition. And Jeremy takes like a 4-stride lead. You know, he's winning by the nose of the horse. So I decided, okay, well, it's payback time. So I grabbed the closest thing to me, which was another inner tube, and I chucked it, and I completely missed Jeremy. Like, it wasn't even close to Jeremy. And with that said, I knew that he was going to win at this point, because I was falling behind. I was like, all right, last chance. Jeremy's about to make the turn, so like Joe Montana, I knew I was going to have to lead him. I was going to have to throw this next inner tube on a lead. I was going to have to throw to his right, because as soon as he makes the turn, he's going to turn, and I got to throw the inner tube ahead of him and just chuck it as hard as I can, as hard as I can get it across. So I grab the next inner tube, get a firm grip on the rubber, or whatever you want to call it, and I chuck it. I put all of my left-handed strength into it. Jeremy takes the turn. I lead him too much, and around the corner comes Neon and Stripes. And Neon was leading the pack, and as Neon came around the corner, was somehow perfectly timed where my inner tube connected. And I mean, it connected like Joe Frazier. Alright, when this inner tube connected, it popped her face back. She was having a bad day from that moment on.
I think she got whiplash from that.
She may have gotten whiplash. It was a bad car accident resulting by an inner tube. So her head snaps back, and I don't know what to do, because I didn't know that me and Jeremy, like I said, this was later at night. It was like 40 minutes before they were even going to close the place. So we knew that there was pretty much no one down there. And like I said, with that divider in the middle, when we were on the back side of the track, we're guessing Neon and Blue decided it was a good idea to hop in, and we didn't really see them get in. And when I chucked it, I was so shocked she came around the corner. And I'm pretty sure she was shocked when she came around the corner, too. Because, I mean, so we were apologizing. I was apologizing. Jeremy was just trying not to laugh the whole time. And I'm apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were there. And they're like, yeah. And then they get out of the lazy river, and they essentially leave sight. Me and Jeremy finally go around that corner that he was cornering a while ago. And we just started cracking up laughing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen... If I was to go to maybe a professional boxing fight, I don't think I'd see a hit as well as that one was. It may have only been an inner tube, but there was some power behind that inner tube. I can assure you of that. So let's find out where we are here. I mean, what was going through your head when she came around the corner and got hit with that? Because did you know I was throwing the second inner tube at you?
No, I was just trying to get ahead of you and get around that corner, and all I see is her head snap backwards, and you just go, oh.
So, like I said, I was shocked. So, like about 10 minutes later, we're still doing our laps, and of course, with me, maybe this was meant to be. Maybe me hitting her in the head was meant to be, because it did one thing. It caught me back up to Jeremy. And it may have been at the expense of Neon. However, it did catch me back up to Jeremy. And probably about 10 minutes or later, we seen the guy that we were talking to earlier in the day from the hot tub, and he was kind of just watching us, right? He was standing at one of the stairs and he was watching us. And me and Jeremy are like, this guy's older than us. He's probably like, he's at least a good 4 inches taller than Jeremy, and at least another maybe 2 or 3 inches taller than me. And I knew this guy is probably going to come down and get a little payback for what happened to Neon. And we're just waiting. We're waiting for something bad to happen, because usually that's what happens to us. So we're waiting, and he eventually just kind of turns around, grabs like a towel that maybe they had forgotten, and he leaves. So a massive sigh of relief that we weren't going to get Shawshanked. And after we knew we weren't going to get shivved, it was pretty much very good. So taking a little jump cut, I think we pretty much, did we ever finish the exercise? Did we get our 10 laps down?
I don't think so. We just kind of called it quits whenever he came down.
Yeah, when he came down, it was kind of a demotivational thing that happened in our minds. So, jump cut to the elevator. You know, we seen Neon again. Probably later that night, I think it was, and she just had a massive red mark on her face. I said my last sorry, ruined her vacation for sure. and she accepted my apology. That's pretty much the wrap up. Leave your humiliating thing in the comment section below, and we will see you on the flip side.
Gentlemen, that